Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Carla. I'm a 21-year-old student from Brighton who likes to talk about books and likes to talk to people about books, so that's why I have this lovely channel. Yeah, so if you don't already, grab some water or some tea, anything to get you hydrated, and let's get straight into the video. Cool, so today we're going to be doing the 24 in 2024 challenge. For those of you who don't know, this is when you choose 24 books at the beginning of the year, because it's 2024, and then the challenge is to try and read all of them, or at least as many as you can in 2024. So that's what we're going to be doing here today. I'm a little bit late to the party. I know a lot of other channels did this at the beginning of the year, but I was a girl with uni essays, so now is the time for me. So book number 1 in my challenge is Restore Me by Tahereh Mafi. So this is the third or fourth book in the Shatter Me series. So I started this series in 2023, I believe. I read one book in 2023. No, 2022. I did one book in 2022. I think I read 2 of the books in 2023. And then it's 2024, so I'm reading this one now. So if you don't know, the Shatter Me series is a dystopian YA kind of book. You might have heard a lot on like BookTok and Instagram about Juliet and Warner. There's a big shipping of them in the Shatter Me like stan groups. So yeah, I'm really excited to get back into this series. It's really like reminiscence of like my teen years with dystopian books like Divergent and Hunger Games really big. So yeah, I'm really excited to get into this. My second book is A Sign of Affection by Suma Rishta. This is a romance manga and it is about, what are their names? Yuki and Itsumai? And Yuki is deaf and Itsumai is not, so it's a relationship. Well, the book is about their relationship and how they navigate, like one of them being deaf, one of them being hearing. Really excited to read this. I think I got it gifted for me last year, and they've just brought out an anime series of it, which I've just started watching with my friend Ella. Hey Ella, if you're watching. So yeah, I'm really excited, and this is really interesting for me as well because I'm studying British Sign Language, which is obviously very different from Japanese Sign Language, but I'm still really interested in learning about deaf culture, and especially deaf culture in different countries. So this will be a really fun but interesting read for me. My third book in this challenge is Dating Dr. Dill by Nisha Sharma. This is a romance book that I've seen a lot around on TikTok. Ali from Alison Pages, this was one of her like top romances, I think, last year that she read, and it looked really fun. So yeah, I wanted to give this a go. I'll read you a little bit of the synopsis. Kira Mann dreams of having a love story like her parents, but she prefers restoring her classic car to sweeping right on dating apps. When her father announces he's selling her late mother's home, Karina makes a deal with him. He'll gift her the house if she can get engaged in 4 months. But her search for a soulmate becomes impossible when her argument with Dr. Prem Vera, the host of the Dr. Dill show, goes viral. Now the only man in her life is the one she doesn't want. Dr. Prem Verma is dedicated to building a local community health centre, but he needs to get donors with deep pockets. The Dr. Dill show was just doing that until his argument with Karina went viral and he was left shortchanged. That's when Karina's meddling aunties present Prem with a solution. Convince Karina he's her soulmate and he'll regain funding for his clinic. Even though his views on love matches and arranged matches conflict with hers, Prem finds that the more he's with Karina, the more he begins to believe she's the woman he wants to spend the rest of his life with. But for Prem and Karina to find their happily ever after, they must admit that hate has turned into fate. So this is a fun rom-com. I believe it's kind of based on The Taming of the Shrew by Shakespeare. That's a rom-com kind of twist on that. So yeah, I'm really excited to read this. Number 4 is Magnolia Hearts by Jessa Hastings. Now, I probably think a lot of you have seen this around, especially on TikTok and Instagram. It's gotten quite big. I got it gifted for me last year, but I decided I was going to read it this year. I think I just saw loads of Instagrams about it. It was just really encouraging me to read it, so I got really excited. So yeah, it is a romance, and it's kind of a mixture between Gossip Girl and Made in Chelsea. So it's based in London, and it's about a group in like high London society. I'll read you the tiny little blurb that there is. So it is: how many loves do you get in a lifetime? She's a beautiful, self-involved and mildly neurotic London socialite. He's Britain's most photographed bad boy who broke her heart. But Magnolia Parks and BJ Ballantyne are meant to be, aren't they? Dun dun dun. So yeah, this is a romance book. Yeah, excited to read it, excited to get into the series. Book number 5 is More Orgasms Please by the Hotbed Collective. Now, I was gifted this by my friend a couple of years ago. It's been on my bookshelf for a while, so I was like, I really would like to read this year. So I'm going to read you the blurb. An orgasm is free, helps you sleep, and keeps you looking younger. So why, like the pay gap, is there an orgasm gap between men and women? The Hotbed Collective's manifesto is simple: to make life better, one orgasm at a time. This is an open, honest, and often hilarious exploration of all aspects of sex for women, from feminist porn to body image and the menopause. As punchy and playful as the podcast that inspired it, More Orgasms Please puts women's bodies and pleasure firmly back on the map. So I am really, really, really looking forward to read this. Sounds like it's going to be a fun but educational read. Book number 6 is Legendary by Stephanie Garber. This is the second book in the Caraval series. I buddy read the first book in 2023 with Ella once again, and we've decided that in February we're going to buddy read Legendary, but this was actually already on my 24 list, so I was quite happy about that. So if you don't already know, the Caraval series is a YA fantasy series. I don't know what to say without giving it away, which is quite hard. Let's just say it's about, would you say it's not really a circus, but it's kind of like a circus, and it's magical, and there's tasks, and there's mystery, and there's betrayal, and there's romance. Because I don't really want to read the blurb of this because I think it's going to give away some of the first book. I quite enjoyed the first one. Looking forward to getting into the second one. Lovely. Book number 7 is Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. And this is kind of stepping away from my usual kind of reads. So I bought this during lockdown, and it's been on my shelf ever since. So I've put a little sticker on it. I don't know if you can see. I've put stickers on books on my bookshelf that I've decided that I need to read in 2024. If I don't read them, I need to unhaul them by the end of the year. So this was one of them. It's kind of like from what I've gathered, it's historical, but it also has like horror-y, scary kind of vibes to it. So I've also heard some people really, really love this. I think Silvia Moreno Garcia has gotten like quite popular. I think this is like one of her like first main books, but I'll read you the blurb. So, glamorous socialite Naomi Daborda's life of parties and entertainment is interrupted when she receives a frantic letter from her newlywed cousin, who's begging to be rescued from a mysterious doom. Naomi immediately heads to High Palace, an estate in the mountains of Mexico, owned by the secluded Doyle family, determined to discover what is troubling her beloved cousin. The fortunes of the silver line mining Doyles has eroded, and their house is a dilapidated relic. Even more worrisome are the inhabitants of the high place. They're the alluring yet menacing new husband, his foreboding father, and other Tankerton relatives. I don't know how you say that. taciturn relatives. Soon the house itself begins invading Naomi's dreams with vision of blood and doom. She must tread carefully, for there are many secrets behind the walls of a high place. I think I've been saying high palace, but it's high place. And Naomi may soon find it impossible to leave this enigmatic house behind. So yeah, this is kind of different from what I usually read, but I've kind of been inspired to read some kind of like horror-y books recently. So yeah, this is book number 7. Up we have A Curious History of Sex by Kate Lister. So, based on the popular research project Whores of Yore and written with her distinct humour and wit, A Curious History of Sex draws upon Dr. Kate Lister's extensive knowledge of sex history. From medieval impotence tests to 20th century testicle thieves, from the erotic frescoes of Pompeii to modern-day sex doll brothels, Kate unashamedly roots around in the pants of history, debunking myths, challenging stereotypes, and generally getting her hands dirty. Oh my god, I already loved what I did read last year, so I'm really excited to get back into this. Next up we have You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty by Ikawake MC. I hope I pronounced that name right. This is also another book that I've heard some really, really good things about. I believe it's the author's first romance book. I think their most famous work's one called Pet. I haven't read it yet, but I've seen it around. I'm really looking forward to this. Faye is about to be given the chance to escape the city's blistering heat for a dream island holiday. Poolside cocktails, beach sunsets, and elaborate meals. And as the sun goes down on her old life, our heroine also might just be ready to open her heart to someone new. The only problem is she's falling for the one man she can't possibly have. Yes, so I'm really looking forward to this read. Book number 10 is Sex Ed, A Guide for Adults by Ruby Rare. So this is a illustrated book for adults that focuses on like sex positive sex education. Ruby Rare, I follow them on Instagram and they are absolutely amazing. I listen to their podcast. But yeah, the book Sex Ed shouldn't start and end with putting a condom on a banana. This is the pleasure-focused sex ed that you deserve to get at school, in all its challenging, messy, awkward, hilarious, enjoyable glory, from the sex ed educator you deserve to have. Welcome to Sex Ed, where everyone is invited in the party. So yeah, the illustrations are really beautiful. I'll just show you like the inside of the book. Like, how gorgeous is that? Like, so pretty. And yeah, the art is by Sophie Birkin. Next on to book number 11, we have Mistakes Were Made by Meryl Wilsner. I think I bought this for my friend last year, and then I decided to buy one for myself as well. She said that she really enjoyed this. So this book is a romance, a sapphic romance, age gap, which I like. So yeah, I'll read it to you. When college senior Cassie spends her Friday evening at an off-campus bar, she isn't looking for a hookup. It just happens. Buying a drink for a stranger turns into what should be an uncomplicated, amazing one-night stand, but then the next morning rolls around and her best friend drags her along to meet her mum, who turns out to be the hot older woman Cassie just slept with. Erin was meant to spend the weekend getting closer to her daughter, not hooking up. But what should have been a one-time fling quickly proves impossible to ignore, and soon Cassie and Erin are sneaking around. Worst of all, they start to realise they might actually have something real. Is being honest about the love between them worth the cost? So I'm really excited about this book. The author, I think they've just released another sapphic book, and I think it's about like football. So I'm really excited to try this one first, and if I like it, I'll go on to the second one. But yeah, I've heard some really good things about this, and I mean, look at that cover. They are so hot. So good. Next up, we have Heartstopper, Vol 1. I am so late to the party with this. I've seen the TV show, amazing, loved it. Another thing I watched with my friend Ella. Hello Ella again. So yeah, love the TV show. I wanted to get the books, but they were just like quite a lot of them, be quite expensive. And then I think it was end of 2023, I found vol 1 to 4 for 99p each at a charity shop, which is such a fucking bargain. So I've added this to my list so I can finally get around to it. I think obviously, I don't think I've heard like one single bad review of Heartstopper, like the graphic novel series, so I'm really, really excited to get into it. I think this might be like a nice end of the day when I want to read but I'm like tired before bed. I think like graphic novels for me are like quite good for that. So yeah, Heartstopper by Alice Osman. I think nearly everyone's got to know this book, come on. But if you don't know, boy meets boy, boy becomes friends, boys fall in love. Book number 13 is The Final Strife by Sarah El Arifi. This is another book that I've heard like absolutely brilliant things about. Just brilliant things about the author. And so I'll read to you the blurb because I need to remind myself as well. So, the Empire is divided by blood. Red-blooded embers, blue-blooded dusters, and clear-blooded ghostlings. All blood will be spilled in the coming battle for power. The Aktibar, a set of trials set every 10 years to find out the next ruler of the Empire, is about to begin. All embers can join, but it requires great skill to win. Sila was destined to become the Warden of Strength, forged as a weapon to change the Empire from within. Those dreams of a better future turned to dust when her family were brutally murdered. But Sila wasn't made to sparkle, she was made to burn. And as these trials draw nearer, it's time for her to decide. Will she rule the Empire, or will she destroy it? Whoa. This sounds so good. I've heard it's quite war heavy and stuff, which, you know what, I'm actually don't like war in real life. I'm a real PC girl, but in a fantasy book, it's great to read about. So I'm really, really excited to get into this. For book number 14, we have The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sangu Mandana. I have seen this go around like BookTube at the moment. I think it's kind of really gone under like the cozy fantasy kind of genre. Yeah, Emily Henry on here said it's one of my coziest reads of last year. And yeah, I'm looking to get more into like cozy reads and stuff, especially this time of the year. Like, I can't think of a better thing. Mika Moon follows 3 rules. Hide your magic, keep your head down, and stay away from the other witches. Mika is good at being alone, and she doesn't mind it, mostly. But when she's invited to teach 3 younger witches at the mysterious Nowhere House, Mika jumps at the chance for a different life. As she comes to care for its quirky inhabitants, and Jamie, the handsome but prickly librarian, belonging somewhere feels like a real possibility. But magic isn't the only danger in the world. Is it worth risking everything to protect the found family Mika didn't know that she was looking for? A warm and uplifting novel about an isolated witch whose opportunity to embrace a new family life and love changes the course of her life. So this seems very cozy and lovely. So yeah, that is the next book. Book number 15, we have... I've literally just shown you the arse. You understand what I mean. So, Come As You Are by Emily Nagoski. Yeah, you can see the body here. That was the bum. Didn't mean to do that, but that was quite funny. So this is actually going to be a reread for me. I originally read this book last year through audiobook, which I recommend so much. Emily is such a good narrator. I really loved it. This was actually one of my 5-star reads last year. I think it's revolutionary and game-changing. So I'm going to read you the blurb. An essential exploration of women's sexuality that will radically transform your sex life into one filled with confidence and joy. After all the books that I've written about sex, all the blogs and the TV shows and the radio Q&As, how can it still be that we have so many questions? The frustrating reality is that we've been lied to, not deliberately. It's no one's fault, but still, we're told the wrong story. Come As You Are reveals the true story behind female sexuality, uncovering the little known science of what makes us tick and, more importantly, how and why. Sex educator Dr. Emily Nagoski debunks the common sexual myths that are making women and some men feel inadequate between the sheets. Underlying almost all of the questions we have about sex is the common worry: am I normal? This book answers with a resounding yes, we are all different, but we are all normal. And once we learn this, we can create for ourselves better sex and more profound pleasure than we ever thought was possible. So yeah, this book is fucking amazing. I really recommend it to women and those with vulvas, but for also to those who have different genders, different genitalias. I think this is a really important read that everybody should know the information that's in this book. Like, I recommend this book so much. Absolutely amazing. Book number 16 is Such a Fun Age by Kylie Reid, and I just realised I've still got the charity shop sticker on it. Oops. This is a literary fiction, I believe. So I'm gonna read the blurb because I kind of know what the book's about, but I don't want to butcher it. So there we go. When Amira is apprehended at a supermarket for kidnapping the white child she's actually babysitting, her employer Alex resolves to make things right. So begins a crash course that will upend everything they think they know about themselves, each other, and the messy dynamics of privilege. So I think this is going to be a really important read. I've heard that it's, I don't even want to say good because it's a really hard topic and a really sad one, but I believe like the book itself is really engaging and draws you in. So I'm like looking forward to reading this one. Next up we have A Psalm for the Wild Bill. I've heard absolutely incredible things about this. It's a sci-fi and it's about the relationship between a tea monk and a robot. And I don't think I'm going to read the blurb actually because I think this is going to be a good book to go in like quite blindsided. I mean, all I've heard is that this is really, really wholesome, sweet, lovely, optimistic. So I'm going to go into this without reading the blurb. Next up, we have Chain Gang All Stars by Nana Kwame Ajay Branya. The premise of this book I found like incredible, like nothing I'd ever really heard about in a book before. So I'll read you the blurb. Welcome to Chain Gang All Stars, the popular and highly controversial program inside America's prison system. In packed arenas watched by millions of live stream viewers, prisoners compete as gladiators for the ultimate prize, their freedom. Fan favourites Loretta Thunwer and Hamara Hurricane Stacker. I said stacks because there's like 3 X's. Are teammates and lovers. Thurwart is nearing the end of her time on the circuit, free in just a few matches, a fact she carries as heavily as her lethal hammer. As she prepares for her final encounters, as protesters gathers at the gates and the programme's corporate owners stack the odds against her, will the price be simply too high? So it is an uncanny, singular feat for literature. I've never read satire so bruising, so brolic, so tender, and really so pitch perfect. It's nuts, brilliant. Just read it. So, number 19, we have a BookTube Instagram favourite, Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldry. Yeah, this is another one I think nearly everyone on BookTube has heard about. It's another one of those books in cozy fantasy kind of vibe. All I know is that it's about an orc in a coffee shop and there's a sapphic romance. And this, I've heard once again like really, really brilliant things about this book. It says high fantasy, low stakes, good company. I think this is another like perfect book for this time of year that I'm really, really looking forward to get into. I think the author's just released a prequel to the book as well, so if I like this, I'll be reading that as well. And number 20, we have Am I Normal Yet by Holly Bourne. This is another reread for me, but I read this when I was a teenager, so this has been on my shelf for a long, long time. So this will be my reread of Am I Normal Yet by Holly Bourne. This is a YA, and I'm going to read you the blurb. So, all Evie wants is to be normal. And now that she's almost off her meds and at a new college where no one knows her as the girl who went nuts, there's only one thing left to tick on her list. But relationships can mess with anyone's head, something Evie's new friends Amber and Lottie know only too well. The trouble is, if Evie won't tell them her secrets, how can they stop her from making a huge mistake? So this is a YA romance book, but it also deals heavily in like mental health issues. So I would give a trigger warning for this book. If reading about mental health is not great for you, I would avoid it. But I think if you are okay reading that, yeah, this will be a good read. Obviously, I haven't read it in a while, so I'll have to give you my thoughts once I've reread it again. Next up, we have Honey and Spice by Bolu Babalola. This cover is so freaking cute. Like, look at that. That looks amazing. So this is a romance book. Let's see what it's about. So, sisters, beware of the waste man of Whitewell. As a host of radio show Brown Sugar, Kiki Banjo's mission is to protect her listeners from heartbreak, which puts Whitehall College's newest student, handsome player Malachi Corrady, at the top of her hit list. But when Kiki's dream summer internship in New York depends on finding a fresh angle for her radio show, she must make an unlikely bargain with Malachi himself to put their simmering clashes aside to form a fake relationship, something sweet and spicy enough to win over the whole campus. However, close proximity to the notorious heartbreaker brings everything Kiki thought she knew about her own heart into question. Why is throwing out her stringent romantic rulebook suddenly so tempting? Will she find it in her to resist? So yeah, this seems like it's going to be good, like a good spicy, heartwarming, romantic book. Yeah, this looks amazing. Next up, we have Spy X Family Vol 1. So I started watching the anime with a friend. Really, really liked it. And I have a Forbidden Planet near me. One opened in Brighton in 2023, and they were doing 3 mangas for the price of 2. So I was like, hell yeah. And I get a student discount on top of that, so it was brilliant. But yeah, I actually really, really like the anime. It's a lot of fun. I don't know if it's like too popular on here, but I will read you blurb. Master Spy Twilight is unparalleled when it comes to undercover on a dangerous mission for the betterment of the world. But when he receives the ultimate assignment to get married and have a kid, he may finally be over his head. Not one to depend on others, Twilight has his work cut out for him, procuring both a wife and a child for his mission to infiltrate an elite private school. What he doesn't know is that the wife he's chosen is an assassin and the child he's adopted is a telepath. So that's Twilight. And then we've got the fake daughter and the fake wife there. So, yeah, I'm really excited. I love the anime, so I'm sure this is going to be amazing. Next up we have Sister Outsider by Audre Lorde. Now this is one that I'm really looking forward to because I've heard about Audre Lorde for years, but I was really introduced to her through my uni course. One of the topics featured some of her work, and her writing is just incredible. So this is a collection of some of her essays. So yeah, this is one that I'm really looking forward to. And finally, at number 24, we have 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. This is another romance that I've heard amazing things about. I think this might have to be a summery spring read for me. So, 7 days to fall in love, 15 years to forget, and 7 days to get it all back again. When Ava Mercy, a single mother and best-selling erotica writer, and the enigmatic award-winning novelist Shane Hall meet at a literary event in New York, sparks fly. What no one knows is that 15 years earlier, teenage Eva and Shane spent 1 week together, madly in love. While they may pretend to be strangers, they can't deny their chemistry. Over the next 7 days, amidst a steamy Brooklyn summer, Eva and Shane reconnect. But Eva is wary of the man who broke her heart and wants Shane out of the city so her life can return to normal. Before he disappears, though, she needs a few questions answered. So, yeah, I've heard that this is like an absolutely beautiful book, sexy and romantic. So, I'm so excited for this. And another one, look at this cover. Like, beautiful, amazing. So yeah, these are my 24 books in 2024 that I'm planning to read. I'm so excited to read some of these wonderful books, and hopefully I'm going to take you along on this journey with me. So I hope everybody has a beautiful week, hope you're healthy and well, and I'll see you at the next video. Bye!